All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome
Hi,
to Enchanted Chatter. I'm Courtney,
I'm Bri.
and we're excited for you all to join us on our first live stream. Hopefully, you all can hear us because this is definitely our first live stream. We're using a new tool, and we're hoping it works. I see Kirby and Jonathan in the chat, so good to see you guys.
Hi, guys.
We'll get started here. I know that today we're looking to just give you guys a little bit of background about us and dive into what this channel is going to be about. I'll kick us off. I'm Courtney. I have been playing Lorcana since the start of set 3, so Into the Inklands. Bri, when did you start playing?
I started actually with set 1. That Enchanted Bell got me hooked very, very quickly. But it helped Joey pushing me, trying to get me to any sort of TCG.
And Joey is your husband.
Yes, Joey's my husband.
And
this is Jester.
As you can see, our first guest appearance from my dog, Jester. You will probably see her and my other dog at some point or another throughout our live streams because they are known to join us in our office pretty frequently.
Don't worry, I'm sure Maya will crash a time or two also.
I am a dog parent, but Bri is a real parent, so she has real responsibilities where I just have half responsibilities.
Dog parenting is real though.
When I first met Bri, we were at one of our local game stores here in Fort Worth, and Bri had, how old was Deckard at the time? It would have been back in March,
so he was 2 months old. That sounds crazy. Yeah, I was the crazy one that brought an infant to events because I really wanted to keep playing.
Which kind of, I think, brings us to one of the things I think we want to be representative in the community for Lorcana is we want other parents and other women to see that even if they're moms or don't think that they have a space in the TCG world, that they are very welcome and that this is a very welcoming game that they can join and really enjoy playing and feel welcomed and meet other like-minded people. So
even if you've given other TCGs a try, like I have tried the Magic with my husband. He played Magic for 20 years and it was not for me. We do have a few friends that are very sweet and I love them very much that we play Magic with still, even though it's not my favorite, but they're very great people. But the community as a whole is not always the most welcoming towards women. This TCG experience completely changed my mind on TCGs in general.
Absolutely. I think I've definitely had the same experience. So this is really the first TCG that I've played competitively. When I started playing Lorcana, I got into it because I am definitely a big Disney nerd. I've loved Disney since I was a little kid. I grew up going to Disney World, watching all the movies. So I was definitely drawn in from that perspective. And then I was also drawn in because I'm a big board game person. So I've always really wanted to play TCGs, but nothing's really caught my attention. And when you add Disney to the mix, it definitely drew me in and was something that I wanted to play, but I didn't get to play until set 3 because of the fact that it was so hard to find product. And it was at the time I was working on my MBA, so it was just a time issue on my side. And then once set 3 came out, I was wrapping up my MBA program and just had a lot more time. And I think at that point, product was starting to become a lot more available and easy to get your hands on. So it felt like a good time to jump in. And I'm happy I did because I feel like I was able to, now I'm caught up on my collection. So not only do I play competitively, but Bri and I are also collectors. So Bri refers to her collection as the no touchy. I'm not as strict with my no touchy.
I have to tell myself that, or else I'll be like, okay, maybe I could just play with the shiny Rapunzel. And my husband's like,
if you ever see me in a tournament, you will definitely know that my no touchies are actually my touchies, because I like to play with the shiny cards.
Max rarity.
I'm not quite there, but I do. I am lucky enough that even coming into late in the game, in set 3, I was able to collect back to set 1, and now I have a full play set of all cards, and have a full master set of foils as well. Just currently working on the most recent set, still missing a few foils. So if anyone wants to trade some foils, I'm still looking.
So am I. But oh, Jonathan, you're adorable. I love seeing, like, we've made such great friends in this community, and seeing all of y'all on here in the chat supporting us means a lot. We really appreciate you guys, and we love you all.
Yeah, I can't express that enough. I think I was definitely nervous coming into playing Lorcana, because when I first moved down to Texas about 6 years ago from Chicago and didn't really know anyone, and I was trying to find friends and started to play Dungeons and Dragons at some local game stores. And at first, trying to find a game store that was really welcoming to me was very hard. And then I found a really great store in Dallas called Common Ground Games. They're a really great community, and I made some really great friends. But then kind of moved over to the Fort Worth side, so wasn't able to get over to Dallas as frequently. So was looking to have that sense of community again. And with Lorcana, I've definitely found that again. I've made some amazing friends. Most of them are stalking us in the chat right now and being wonderful. So I'm really appreciative of all the support that they've given us, and we're lucky to have a really great team to play on and play test with. So excited to kind of share what that's like with the community, from like both a casual and competitive side. So I think as two people that are newer to TCGs, coming in and starting playing casual and then moving into a more competitive space can be a little daunting. So we wanted to kind of use this platform as a space to share how we were able to do that, and sort of what it takes to be able to do that. So I think we'll probably share a lot of information about, what it takes to meet people on the more competitive circuit, what it's like to go to those events, what it's like playtesting for those types of events. If you don't even know what playtesting is, what playtesting is. I know we've got a lot of ideas from sort of the base of information on TCGs all the way to just more casual conversations with different content creators, different people in the Lorcana community, and getting to chat with them week to week. So really looking to have a lot of open conversations with the community. And if there is anything that the community is looking to have, is just making sure that we can get that out there. I know what kind of triggered us sort of taking the leap to finally do this. It was something that Bri and I had really talked about a lot.
We were like, okay, we want to do it, but we were hesitant. We weren't really sure, like, is this going to be something people would even want to know about? But we just kind of felt like after Courtney got to be on Illumineers with Erin, who is absolutely phenomenal. She's such a sweet person. Another super mom over there.
100%.
But after she kind of did that, that would really just like gave Courtney the itch. She was like, okay, let's just do it.
Yeah. We we talked about on that episode a lot of the things that were missing in the community, and Bri and I were just kind of thinking about, well, you know, we can do those things. Those are a lot of the things that we're familiar with and we're happy to put out in the community, put out there as a resource for more women and just the larger community to have as a resource. So that's sort of what we're hoping to share with this journey. And things may change throughout. We have the right to change what we decide to do with this channel at any point. But as of right now, that's kind of our thought process on what we'll do. A guest appearance from my dogs apparently barking in the background. Who knows what they hear or see? So sorry about that.
Also, too, us doing this could bring a lot of light to the DFW community in general, because we have a lot of very great players in the DFW area, several like Golden Mickey winners and things like that that people kind of overlook because they're not really big into content creation. And so we can bring in a lot of attention into that kind of thing, maybe get some more larger events going on in the DFW area, since we have such a big community in this area. So that's a secret goal of mine. Yeah, is trying to get stuff a little bit more closer so I can have a babysitter and not have to carry him around with me at all of the events, which I mean I've done, and Steve can attest to that. Steve Warner has taken lots of photos with my son and attacks.
Maybe a few more Diet Coke invitationals. Kirby.
Her stock is depleting as we speak.
I'll share the stock if you're willing. Just saying.
Also, if anyone feels like donating to not just Diet Coke, these Miss Kirby are also absolutely amazing. Haha, I did it. I told you I was going to do that so much. I'm like, hee.
So Bri was, I informed Bri that before we got on, the camera that we're using has a product like display feature. So if we want to show off any cards, it will focus on the card and then blur us. And she's like, "Ooh, I'm going to feature my drink instead." and she did that.
I had to. It's so delicious. It deserves the attention. I just learned about these also. This is like the first one I've drank since I got back from Colorado.
Well, speaking of, this past weekend, we went to Colorado to play in 2 1Ks and a 2K at SCG Con, which is typically I
do what the crowd demands.
It is also feel free, Dr. Pepper and Diet Coke, feel free to sponsor us.
We are open.
We're open to sponsorships. Mm-hmm. But back to what we were talking about. SCG Con is typically been a really big convention for Magic in the past, and recently they've started to add Lorcana events. I don't know, was Denver the first time they had added Lorcana, or was it maybe?
I think it was before that one.
Okay.
But I know they definitely advertised it more for Denver than they did previous ones. But I also think it's because the Denver community, again, is huge for Lorcana and just kind of an untapped market over there. So they're like, ooh, let's see what we can strum up. And they have people all over the state come in, and obviously us coming up from Texas even.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun. Bri and I played in both of the 1Ks on Friday and Sunday. And then we had friends play on Saturday in the 2K. We opted to take a break on Saturday, which I think probably, like, I know I saw, I think it was on, I forget who was talking about it. I know it was like Lorekeeper, Katie from the Lorekeepers Inn, and Dan from the Forbidden Mountain today. We're talking a little bit about like mental health. And I think Bri and I both decided to opt for skipping Saturday just to take a break. Because I think one of the things that might not be talked about a lot is sometimes tournaments can be pretty draining. Playing a lot of rounds of any card game is a lot on your brain in one day. So it was nice to have sort of that day to break it up. And we walked around the event space. They had a lot of artists there for magic cards, and we were able to talk with a lot of those artists. Both of our husbands are big magic players. So I had brought a bunch of cards of my husband's to get signed, and got those signed and got to chat with a few of the artists. And it was really nice to do that. They're all very personable. It got me excited for DLCs to come back when they ever do, because I would love more artist interactions, because
it made me miss Miami TCG Con, because that had so many, I think it was like 22 artists that were there total.
And that makes me jealous that I missed going to that with you. So I need to go to that this year.
I'll have to show off the mat once I am no longer living in your upstairs, because our house situation.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to share that. I know I also have a mat that I've gotten some drawings from
the
artists.
Inspiration for why I did mine at Miami. I just had the opportunity to have a bunch of people do it all at once. So I was like, here we go.
Yeah, so I think it's really fun to go to those bigger events and get to talk with artists and get to play in events and meet other members of the community to just not only get some games in, but also just kind of talk with other players and have just that social aspect. I think that I majorly miss that from the DLCs. I think the other big thing this weekend that made it very interesting playing in a competitive event was the bans that went into effect right before we left.
As a not red blue player, I was real excited. I know a few of our friends, one in particular comes to mind that's in the chat right now. I'm not going to name him. Call him out, Remington. But I know a few of them were probably very heartbroken and sad. But I was like, yes, I stand a chance.
Yeah, we're both not Sapphire players, so we're definitely not upset about the ban. But it definitely did make for an interesting too soon. I know we're talking about it from the perspective of definitely two people that don't play it at all. I definitely listened on Monday when Aaron and Liam were talking with some content creators and other competitive players that, they do a lot of coaching, and specifically do coaching on Ruby Sapphire. And it just makes, a lot of the time and effort that they put into putting together those resources just go to almost waste, because they now have to kind of rebuild them from scratch to be able to have those resources be usable again. So I definitely understand where people are upset about the bans. And I think at first I was just like, people are overreacting a little, but hearing that perspective definitely put it into a lot more.
My brother-in-law Carl pointed out that, like, he's like, think about like somebody that just ordered like a foil set of Hirams for their deck, that they ordered it, paid for it, and then it doesn't even come in yet. They don't even get to play with them, and it gets banned.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah.
It definitely feels
that stings
bad when that happens. So I think that made for an interesting weekend. And I know we probably won't spend a ton of time talking about the ban, because I feel like it's been harped on quite a bit.
I don't think there's anything new we could add to that.
No, definitely not. But it made it interesting trying to build decks for an event that was out of town, because obviously we can't bring our full collections to the event. So we had to be strategic about, what do we think is going to be the meta in Denver, and how do we accommodate for that?
Yeah, Friday was definitely for sure the most interesting day, because I saw some crazy decks that people were trying on Friday, just because everyone was like, I usually played Sapphire Ruby, and that was like, I didn't know really what to do, so I had thrown this together for a league night, and here we are. I made some adjustments. There was a lot of people just kind of rolling with it Friday just to kind of figure out what to do for Saturday or Sunday. So Friday was definitely the funnest day because it was like you saw just decks that you would never normally see.
Yeah,
Like-
it was so much fun. I paired into very bad matchups on Friday, so I did not have fun.
I did not have fun on Sundays.
I ended up so I played a Steel Song deck and just ended up pairing into all of the matchups that I had zero chance to win, and then my deck was very unforgiving, so it was unkind to me on Friday. So I had a great time befriending everyone I played, because that was what it felt like. It was definitely not not a winning day for me.
Yeah, that was me on Sunday where I was just like, finally after like losing, I was like, you know what? I used to live up here. We have friends we were supposed to go see that we were not going to get to see. So let's just make a drive real quick.
Yeah.
We'll see you later, Courtney. Good looking top cut.
Yeah. So my Sunday was definitely better. I made top cut on Sunday. So I was very excited about that. It was a very, very good deck choice, I think, on Sunday, and I think I wish I had picked that deck. So I was playing Emerald Amethyst on Sunday, and I'm having a lot of fun with that deck. I think I could have done a lot better had I played Diablo more than a few times before that event, because I missed a few triggers. Yes, Kyle and anyone else who helped me prep for the weekend, you can yell at me at a later time. I know I shouldn't have missed the triggers, and every time I did afterwards, I was like, oops, and I'm getting yelled at in my head by these people.
Yep. Kyle McGinty, his voice echoes, and by his voice, I mean his face. Typically from here to here, whenever you forget something, he gives you a look. If you know him, you know the look. And you're like, oh no. All jokes aside, Kyle is actually very sweet. He helps us
a lot.
But he also helped me even for Thursday night until in an ungodly hour. We'll leave it at that. It was way too late. Marion, I'm sorry. But my husband even gave up helping me that night, and he went to bed, and I was like, Kyle, help. I'm having a crisis the night before a tournament.
Yeah, so I think that definitely shows having a good team around you is very helpful. It definitely, I think there's something to be said about TCGs and understanding that, like, while it is a one player game, there's definitely more than one person behind like the deck and prepping for those games and matches. It takes a lot of other people to get you to those places. So I think building a community is really important. So I think we're really excited and lucky to have such a great community here in DFW. So I'm thankful for that. But we can actually jump over and share the deck that we played this weekend. So we both played two different decks. I played
say start with the one that you made top cut with.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that the people are gonna want.
Yeah, so
for sure.
This was my top cut deck. So nicely named No Cards for You. I think one of my best play lines was to get obviously Diablo was really important to get out, but even more so than that was being able to get Ursula out, Ursula Deceiver out, and then get Peter Pan Shadowfinder, and then drop Iago, and then lovingly drop a Lucifer Cunning Cat. It was always really entertaining to be able to drop that after I was able to sing like a Sudden Chill or use a Hypnotize before playing that, because at that point their hand's pretty small, and having to either discard if it's against somebody playing yes, always lovingly. If it's against somebody who has, like, maybe they're playing Be Prepared, or if they have to discard, 2 cards instead of an action, it's really just a win-win for you when you're playing this deck. So definitely was a lot of fun to play this deck. I had some great games with it, and just it was definitely fun. I think this deck is a little more, at least for me, I find it more enjoyable than playing just the Emerald Steel deck. That one just seems a little less, I don't know. For me, it's less fun. This one feels like it's still more interactive with the other player, whereas I feel like with Emerald Steel, it's more straight.
More straight. You're not allowed to play the game anymore.
Yeah, and this, I think,
so it's a difference in play style also, because some people enjoy that aspect of, I have to have the right cards and I have to know how to play them in the correct order to make it where you actually don't have the cards in hand, and that there is an art form to that for sure.
I don't quite have that art form, so I enjoy this. I think it gives me a lot more avenues to be able to have a good outcome if I don't have the Diablo shift available to me on turn 1 or turn 2.
Yeah.
Be prepared in this economy. Yeah. I saw people playing 3 or 4 of them.
I may or may not have been one of those people.
And I see a lot of people asking why I play 61. I don't like playing 60 cards. I like playing 61 cards.
You're going to notice with my decks also, they're 61. I added...
I like having an extra card for luck.
That one extra card, listen, it could keep someone from just milling me out with the whole new worlds. I have one more card than you. Haha.
Yes, it also might be because the other deck I really enjoy playing, and one day it will be viable, is a Jafar wheel deck. And I can't wait to wheel people again with that. And then which one do you want to go? Do you want to do Mommy Shark or What the Duck?
Let's go with my worst one. So let's go Mommy Shark.
Okay.
Technically this deck is very good. Kyle, don't attack me. This deck is very good.
Let me I just didn't switch over.
Whenever it does the things, it is literally unstoppable. This deck is incredibly rude. But whenever it did not do the things, it felt real bad. But I mean, it's obviously there's a lot of purple at the beginning, just kind of control it a little bit. And then you get the Maui Shark out, and you have so many low cost actions with the magical maneuvers, gathering knowledge. This is my family, where you're just, hey, I'm going to do this action that gains me a lure, also gaining lure from the shark and drawing cards. And you're just, whenever the shark wheel happens, I think I gained 13 lore in one turn, just from the Maui Shark and just bouncing nonsense. Because
I'm really glad I didn't run into this deck, because this looks horrible to play against.
Steven would be very proud. Red Purple is definitely, I think, the most fun deck for me to play. I did really well with it for the Ursula set champ. So I was like, oh, Hiram's gone. I'm going back to my roots, baby. Let's go back where I did well. Maybe I can manage to do well again. But if you are facing a lot of, how are we feeling about the growing prevalence of evasive?
I mean, personally, from my deck, my deck is very evasive heavy, so I definitely enjoy playing that, and I found that to be an advantage for me over the weekend when I played. I'm very surprised our camera didn't just go out because my dog decided to go under the desk, and I was surprised it didn't take out the.
Everything's still functioning.
Do you want to close the door?
Yeah.
I apologize for the loud barking. So with my deck, I had a lot of evasives, and I found that it was really helpful. There were a few games that I won simply because my opponent had no other way to deal with them. They had just they had not enough simply not enough characters or kill spells to take them all out, and having that was really helpful for me. I'm going to guess that as the week progresses, we'll probably see decks shift to adapt to the evasives and add more in to account for that. But I think one of the things that a lot of people have been talking about is it's going to be hard to handle everything in the meta right now. Yeah. So you can either handle the blue-red decks that are becoming popular.
Blue steel is still very prevalent.
Or you can handle like the discard decks that are becoming more prevalent. It's kind of hard to find a deck that can beat both of those. So I think it will matter more so what is more prevalent in your local area as we get into set champs and like events that you're going to be playing. And I think that that's sometimes when the meta is talked about, I think it's talked about on this really broad, big general scale. But like when we played in Denver, the meta was very, very different than what we're used to when we play in DFW. So it's definitely something that is different from area to area. So while I think it's important to listen when, you hear like larger people talk about meta as a whole, because you will see that happen, those shifts happen in your local scene. There is still going to be some merit in paying attention to what is happening just in your local scene, because if people like to play completely different decks in your local area, it's not going to matter if if no one's playing blue red in your area, it wouldn't make sense to build a deck that counters blue red. So yeah, to put it simply.
Yes. And it's just very much like our area versus Denver being completely different. I'm sure whenever I went down to Florida for Miami TCG, it was completely different. And there are still going to be like your cards that are like, hey, this like Hiram was the best card in the game. Like if you ran blue, you had to run Hiram. Even if it didn't necessarily make sense for the entire deck, you still played Hiram because it was the best card. So still there are going to be things where like he's not wrong. I'm going to drop Peter Pans and destroy your things and then destroy everything and play a shark.
Yeah.
And it works. But they're still like the best cards, and it's still good to listen to like the big creators and like the general meta just to know like, okay, these are definitely specific cards that I will say that, like, I'll listen to them more for like, okay, I know I hear a lot of different talks and the same card is brought up in different streams by multiple different people and different types of decks. That's like a flag to be like, okay, I need to make sure I understand this card so I don't miss a trigger for myself, or also just like the state of gameplay. If I'm playing someone like the Diablos where like they miss a trigger or something like that, I'm the kind of person where I'm like, hey, don't forget, like I will point out, like I'm saying, I am drawing a card while I'm playing a Diablo someone if they have it exerted. Like even if it's a big tournament, I will still say I'm drawing my card just so that I know I am not doing anything kind of sneaky of helping them miss their triggers or anything. It just makes me feel better as a person. It's not required. But understanding the cards too helps you understand how to play against them as well.
Absolutely. And I think you've talked about this before with me. You hate playing Steel Song.
I hate it.
And you, even more so, you hate playing against it. But a few months back, you started to play it and realized that it was really helpful.
That was the best way for me to teach myself, is like, okay, I am struggling no matter what I play. I'm struggling against Amber Steel. So specifically the Steel Song variant. I was like, which is really funny if you know me or my husband, because he's known as the DFW's Amber Steel person.
I don't think he's ever played anything else. I don't think I've ever seen him play anything else.
I'm pretty sure every time he has tried to, Kyle has been like, Joey, what are you thinking? And he always ends up going back at the last minute. But it's funny because that's the one that I always struggle against, with that being his like bread and butter right there. Like that's what he won Hunter Burton with. That's what he top 32 in Chicago at the DLC. And that's the one that I playtest against the most, is the one that I'm like, brain no work. So then I just took his deck one day. I just picked up, I took it. I was like, I'm taking this with me and to League, and I'm going to be playing this for a while because I need to understand it. And it made a huge difference.
Yeah. Which kind of brings us back. I can share the Steel Song deck that I played on Friday. I love Steel Song. I mainly love it because I can play lots of shiny cards in it. And I may or may not have someone in the chat who is possibly still mad at me for a shiny card I might have nabbed from her on Whatnot. Love you, Kirby.
We don't talk about it.
So this was what I played, and I think I like the yep in chat. So this is what I played on Friday. It wasn't a bad build. It just sometimes the deck doesn't work. Sometimes I think it was a good reminder that sometimes sometimes in Lorcana the deck just doesn't work. And it might not be that it's a bad build. And this is really not even just in Lorcana, just in TCGs in general. The deck might not be bad. It just might be like a bad day. Like the shuffle is just not working. Like it once again goes back to like, this is a card game, and it's still chance. So sometimes the deck is not going to work the way you want it to, even though you might have play tested it a million times. Yes, the bot did use your full name. Sorry, Kirby. We do have a bot monitoring chat, so
don't think we're yelling at you.
Don't think we actually are yelling at you. Careful, Marion, with those caps. Thank you for testing our bots. I kind of appreciate it. We definitely are trying all the things with the tools that we are using for the stream, so it's helpful. But jumping back to the deck that we were talking about, it just didn't work for me that day. I paired into a lot of red blue still on Friday, even though I didn't expect to. There wasn't a ton in the tournament, but it really, I had bad matchups that day. And sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. And that's how it was for me that day. On Sunday, I had the opposite. First round, I ended up getting the bye. And then
the only bye of the day.
Yeah, the only bye of the day. And then just paired had great pairings the rest of the day. Some of them were tougher matchups for me, but it was still just significantly better of a day for me, I think, than Friday was. And then we have one more deck to share, and that was the What the Duck.
This is a personal favorite of mine. If you know me, I like decks that I can just, I just play stuff, turn it sideways, say go, good luck. And this is definitely the deck for that at the moment. So you just go out, and I was playing it even on one of the online gaming things, and so I had stuff out there, and I was just like, turn 1 Daisy, turn 2 Daisy Lilo, and just started just every time I would ink, I would just spam the board with 1-drops that quested for 2. And between Daisy Duck and Donald Duck, What the Duck just felt like a great name for it. I had it whenever Daisy came out. I changed my yellow purple because I knew that there would be no yellow purple deck without Daisy Duck, Donald's date in it. And so I changed the name, and so now I have it. This is set 7, What the Duck. There's a set 6 variation. There's ever since she has come out, and there will probably always be one with her What the Duck in there because of how much I love that card. Even my husband can attest to it, where I'm like, even if we're playing Steel Song, I was like, okay, but can I put Daisy in it because it's my favorite card?
Yeah.
It's for sure fun. It's definitely not your typical meta deck, but is definitely your typical aggro deck.
Absolutely.
It's like any aggro deck you're going to see, you're probably going to see pretty much this exact list at the moment.
Did you notice with this, because the uninkables are pretty high, did you have any issues with that when you were playing it?
Not really a ton, just because the highest cost thing in the deck is only 4.
Okay.
And it's so heavy on 1-drops. There's like 22 or something like that 1-drops
that is
in there.
And
right. So it's so heavy on 1-drops where you really only need like 4 ink, and you're playing 4 characters every turn. Right. And then you start getting low on turns. Okay, well, I'm going to drop a Janie. You might can deal with it. You might cannot. But you have several things that can also sing friends on the other side on top of just drawing cards. So then you can just sing friends, play more dorks, and then just keep going.
Yeah. I think this is definitely fun, and a good deck to have fun with. So that was here. So Kirby asked, did we go against any removal that is tough for this to deal with?
Specifically with What the Duck, with it being such a heavy steel meta, if you don't get out 1-drops that quest for 2, like pretty quickly, once that hits like turn 4 or 5, if you haven't won by then, you're probably just gonna scoop. But typically, like, I'm winning on 5 with this deck, or it's just you're dead. Steel has a lot more answers to this type of deck in general, but that's where the daisies kind of come in handy. So if you're playing against Steel in that, you're going to really heavy mulligan for those daisies just because of the 1/4 health. They at least don't die to let the Storm Rage on immediately, versus because, you're playing Steel Song, they're going to drop turn 1 Cindy, and then they're gonna sing it, and you're just gonna be out of luck. And then Under the Sea is a real problem. Big Sisu.
Yeah.
Second that comes out, I just say, all right, good game.
I don't think I've did you run into anyone playing Under the Sea? I didn't run into
I haven't seen anyone playing it in a while, but I wouldn't be surprised with it coming back out just because of the blue steel that we saw a lot at SCG Con was very heavy in the aggro
realm.
Aggro realm with Ward specifically. So I could see Under the Sea seeing more play just because of that alone, just to help kind of counter some of that.
Jonathan with dad jokes, even through the internet.
Jonathan is can never say Jonathan's not consistent.
Nope, definitely cannot.
But definitely for sure, Under the Sea is a big problem. Big Sisu. Still, as long as you get Daisy out, you're playing so many at that point where they can take out a couple of your things to sing with, but hopefully you're getting enough of your dropping enough things that they only have so much that they can sing at one time.
Yeah, and I saw this. This is actually a really good point. Seeing more decks that are shifting to character heavy strategies so that Daisy feels less valuable. I think that is still definitely this is a really good point, and
Yes.
this is where I would say what the meta in your area is going to be pretty important, because if you think you're going to play decks that are more character heavy, yeah, I would agree. Daisy definitely does not feel as good anymore. Giving, somebody who's playing, for example, like my deck, the purple emerald, purple green deck, that's it's not good to give me any more cards, because the more cards I have, the more likely it is I'm getting a shift target, I'm getting more evasives, I'm building a larger board that is just harder to deal with. And that's similar for a lot of these other decks that are character heavy. And then on the flip side, though, with blue, with Sapphire Ruby, I think some of those builds, I haven't seen a ton of the newer builds. I haven't looked at them that much, purely because I don't play that deck. I wouldn't be caught playing that deck. But I do still think it's playing a decent amount of actions. So I think that Daisy could still feel valuable against that. But I do think it's more so that the Daisy is questing for 2, and if you are able to put the pressure on, then it's pretty valuable, even if it only lasts out there for maybe a turn or 2, and gives your opponent a card. I think it's more weighing if giving the other player is a card is worth it or not, worth the lore or not.
Yeah, and sometimes against any like Ruby decks too, yes, they're getting cards, but most of the time they're pretty expensive cards, and they're usually pretty uninkable. I'm thinking about like Red Ladies, things like that, where yes, this could be a problem, but hopefully by the time this can come out, I've already won the game.
Yeah.
That's specifically in this type of build though. And then it feels good. I was also, whenever we were putting this together, expecting a heavy steel meta with Hiram and stuff being in play with a lot of items and songs for Amber Steel and things of that nature. And so this was definitely put together during the Hiram era. But, if it goes fast enough, who cares how many cards they have in hand? You can only play so many. You only have so much ink. Doesn't matter if you have 15 cards in hand if you only can play a fox right now. That only kills one thing.
that is very true. So I think that those are all really good points. So we had a lot of fun playing this weekend. I think I saw a lot of different decks. I think a lot of what the meta was playing, or what the meta has sort of been talked about over the last few days, as we've seen lists from the bigger tournaments, that was sort of what we saw. We saw a few kind of off meta decks as well in Denver that I wasn't expecting, but still definitely enjoyed seeing seeing those. And I think I was kind of lucky because I didn't run into a lot of those. One thing I think about off meta decks in a tournament, it's always hard when you run into them, because like a lot of the times you'll lose the first game to them because you're just not expecting them and you don't know how to play against them at first, and then hopefully you can come back. But a lot of the times they are able to if they're able to snag that second win, like that's how they're able to kind of sneak by. And we were able to see that on Saturday, I think, with a couple of the builds that made Top Cut.
Yeah, Saturday, and then Sunday even I played against a deck where it was Emerald Steel, but not a typical Emerald Steel build. It was like John Silver's very heavy locations. But how he played it game 1 versus how he played the deck game 2, completely different. And I was just like, okay, well, the strategy that would have worked for game 1 isn't going to work for game 2. And red purple doesn't work that great taking out locations if you don't see any Maui's, crabs, or foxes any of your games. That's again where sometimes the cards just don't like you.
Yeah. Anything else about SCG Con that you want to talk about?
I mean, we could talk about your streak ending.
Oh, yeah, my streak ended. So, what is my streak? You probably are wondering. So I have the reputation on our team of pulling a lot of enchanteds. And this set, I feel like I haven't pulled as many. And particularly, I know no one on my team is crying right now. The tiniest violins are playing. But I was very excited because the travel luck, car packs, all of the luck worked.
It rained down on this side, not this side. Just this side.
I was able to pull 3 enchanteds while we were in Denver.
Just buying loose.
Yeah, 2 were from loose boosters. And 1 was from a box that I bought when we went to a new game shop. So the first one I pulled was All Is Found, which let's get it to focus. Oh, come on. There we go. Which is just gorgeous. This is one of my favorite enchanteds from this set. I was really excited to pull this from a car pack. The car pack luck definitely works. The car trick, it works. I can attest. I know Liam from the Illuminateers keeps posting that it doesn't work, and I feel so bad. And every time I'm like, it does work. I swear, Liam, it works. So when I pulled it, I definitely sent him a message and said, it works. I swear. But I also told him that it also helps if you just keep buying packs.
Just keep buying them until you get them.
And then we were lucky enough to play locals with what store did we play at on Thursday?
Oh gosh. The Hey Makers are
we played with the Hey Makers,
and that's pretty much their team is the league.
Yeah. So they were lucky, we were lucky enough to be invited to play league with them. It was a great time. And before league started, I picked up an enchanted that I was missing for my collection, and the store had this awesome deal that you got packs dependent on the money you spent, and the enchanted hit that threshold. So I got some packs and pulled in another enchanted from the packs that I got for buying an enchanted. So I felt like, it was a 2-for-1 deal. There we go. So I got All Is Found from that pack. Show Me More. The All Is Found. And I'm excited for this one because I want a play set for this. I'm a big Amethyst player. I am hoping that I probably will need this for maybe my Jafar deck at one point. Jafar Wheel will come back. Randall and I will make it happen. Randall more so than me because he is much better at making the Jafar deck than I am. But then he'll share it with me. So yes. I'll be happy and content. So that's why I was really excited. I had this, but was definitely excited to get another one. And then the last one. What do you mean, Jafar? Questioning that in the chat, Jonathan.
The bot's gonna come after you next, Jonathan.
I'm really so happy. And then the last one that I pulled was one that I hadn't pulled yet. So typically what I try to do is I'll trade. If I pull duplicates, I'll trade or sell to friends uh, until I get my first set of enchanteds for the set, so I have one of each one. This set has been a little harder though, because there have been a lot of very expensive enchanteds in it. I feel like this is the first set in quite a few sets where we've seen a lot of value in some of the enchanteds, which is good. It's good also, for the game.
The artists really just like, they went off with this one. The enchanteds this set are just incredible. There's so many details and things that are in these enchanteds that just, they look phenomenal. Like, you can't even justify seeing it in person, and seeing it even on like the little app compared to seeing them in person. There's so many things that you miss.
They're way better in person. But I was able to get this. Oh God. Yeah. So Hero Hamada is one that I didn't have, and this is also going to be the set champ.
Yes, just different art.
Promo with different art. So excited to see what that will look like in person as well. I don't love when they do the same card as the set champ promo.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is. We don't work for
it's not
RB,
so yeah, we don't have much say. And then the other big pull that I had was I pulled two regular crabs. One regular crab and then one cold foil crab. So definitely my streak is over. The boxes like me again. So I am very happy. And one of our friends joked that on our live stream that we would be the only live stream that could share our enchanted polls weekly. So we're going to see how many shows we actually can do that.
So I'm going to be more heavy on this side. I'll be on the, okay, well, this week I purchased this enchanted from the Card Haven.
No, we're going to hope that you actually pull them too.
That also requires me actually buying packs and things,
or coming to league with me.
Or coming to league, yes. Which we're currently in the middle of purchasing a home. Closing date is supposed to be a week from today, so hopefully we will.
That means I definitely will need to find a guest to probably co-host with me next week, because I think you'll probably be occupado.
Possibly. I'm not sure how it's going to work, so we will figure it out.
We will see. Maybe next week Bri will be here, but there's also a chance that we will have a guest on with us.
How do we get enchanteds from packs? You are Courtney, and you pick the pack out of the box
so
that they offer everyone, but you pick yours, and that's the one with the enchanted. That's how it works.
It's funny you should ask this, Joey. Your sister did have me pick her packs for her. I couldn't pick her packs, so she had me bless them after she got them. And they did pull how many legendaries from them? 3?
3 legendaries, 2 of which were foil, and they only bought like 4 packs.
Yep. So I would say
from like Barnes and Noble.
I did my job. Put Cameron.
Cameron is currently helping my husband Joey with the monster.
Yeah,
aka my child.
They're on baby duty right now.
Yeah.
Which
Uncle
means
Cameron is
hopefully the baby's still alive. Just kidding. We trust Joey and Cameron.
The smoke alarms haven't gone off, so that's a good sign.
It is. Yeah. It is a good sign. We've probably rambled on for almost an hour at this point. I think we'll probably wrap it up here. Next week, over the course of the week, we'll kind of share things on social media. If you get a chance to check out our link tree, you can see all of our social You can also see our store that we just posted. You can see the link to our website and everything. And over the next week on social, we will be posting what the next show will be about. We're still bouncing around ideas for next week's show.
Navigating.
The nice thing about doing this once a week is we get to kind of pick and choose what we're doing from week to week. I think for now we're going to try to stream once a week. We may do a few pop-on sessions here and there where we'll live stream us playing every now and again, as well as maybe opening some packs, hopefully maybe opening some Enchanteds live.
Seeing Courtney's luck in action.
So we're excited. Thank you for everyone that tuned in. And
we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Yeah. The husbands episode?
No, we do not need a husbands episode. I'm going to call that out before we tune off. The husbands episode is a long way from today.
Yeah, it'll turn into magic, Warhammer.
Pure chaos is what it'll turn into. So they're on baby and dog duty during the show. So we're sticking to the ladies of Enchanted Chatter for now, with some guests being guys, but the hosts are going to be the two of us. Husbands, not so much for right now. Well, once again, thank you, and we will talk to y'all next week.